Welcome to the current discussion today. Today's discussion is going to be, our walkthrough, is about file sharing in Windows and how file sharing affects a ransomware attack. So what we're going to do first is walk you through how to set up local user accounts on a Windows server. We're going to set up group accounts in a shared folder, then we're going to connect to it from another PC, and then we're going to look at some things in terms of what happens with when a ransomware attack occurs. All right, so here we go. Now, I've already started up, my pfSense is started up over here. So that's my firewall. I've got my Windows server. This is behind the firewall. We've also already set up on my pfSense an allow all rule, which will allow file sharing basically from the Azure machine through the pfSense and to access a share on the Windows server. So I'm on the Windows server here, and first thing we're going to do is set up some local user accounts. Now, these are local user accounts, so I'm not on a domain here. There's no domain controller. So if you're on a domain controller, the process is almost the same, except you would use it to set up a domain user account and setting up domain user permissions so that sort of stuff is a little bit different, but it's not much different. So that's why I'm okay showing you how to do it. So here we are in Tools again, and this time I'm going to do Computer Management. So I'm hitting Computer Management here. This one is a broad management of the entire server, which is fine. There are actually specific tools that you will actually see once this opens up. So these tools are actually available in other places. There's actually a separate tool that just does local and user groups. There's a separate tool that does some of this other stuff. But we're managing it from here, and that's basically the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to click on local users and groups. You'll see here we got users, we got groups. It's actually easiest over here to expand it because I'm going to go into users. I can see there's already some user accounts set up. There's a built-in account for administering the computer. That's the administrator. That's the one I've already been using. There is already a guest account, and just don't worry about these accounts, these other accounts that are there. There's actually more accounts in here that you can't see, but they are there. So anyway, what we're going to do first is create two local user accounts. I'm going to hit right click here, and I'm going to hit new user. I could also go into the action menu and hit new user, but this is fine. When you set up a new user, the first username is the one that comes up when they log in. So this is typically your company will have its own username convention. And I'm going to do one. This is called camel case, or somewhat camel case. I can't remember the name of this one. We're going to capitalize the first initial of their first and last name and just concatenate it together. Usually you don't like spaces in your username. Full name, I'm just going to say John Doe. Description, I don't care about. And for password here, I am going to use my password that I've been using, because otherwise you have to remember this. Like a normal user would know this. If you're setting up the account for the user, you're going to have to set up a default password. There, typically, this box will be checked, and they would have to change the password at login. I'm going to uncheck this box, though, and just leave it as is. So all I did here is create one new user so far. This one's name, John Doe, and then I'm going to hit create. Now I'm in the GUI here, and in the GUI, once you hit create, it does just immediately flip to create another user, which is fine. This one's going to be Jane Doe, full name of Jane Doe. And again, typically you don't put a description. Some people do. You might be noting who they are, other stuff about them. We aren't going to do that. Same time here, I'm actually typing in my quote normal password, which is of course in security world this would be a huge no-no, that everything is going to have the same password for me. All I'm doing is testing this, and I just need to remember what the password is. So I created two new user accounts. Now I hit close. They are both here, Jane Doe, John Doe, boom. Okay. Next up, I want to do a group. So I'm going to click in groups. There's a whole bunch of groups in here. This is pretty typical. And there's several built-in groups that you can't really see. One of the ones that you kind of need to be aware of is this users. If I double click users here, by default, users are added to this group, and you're actually better off not messing with this group. But just keep in mind there's a group called users out there, and you kind of just want to leave it as is. Every account is a member of users. This is so funny how that just comes in. I can't move that, but that's okay. That's a Mac artifact, those of you that are wondering where that comes from. All right, oh, what am I doing? So I right click here, I create new group. Same thing, I could go up to action menu and create the new group. This one I'm gonna call it CIS. I just happen to be in the department of CIS, and I would put, sometimes you could put here, I'll put a description in this one. And we're gonna add the members here. What we're going to do is, yeah, I think we should just add the members right now. All right, I'm gonna hit add for members, or under members, if I hit add here, I have to find the people. Note here, enter the object's names to select. If you already know the username, it does make sense to just hit here. Every time you do this though, hit check names, okay? Because notice here, John Doe is actually named. This is the name of the server, then / John Doe. It's a local account. I'm gonna add Jane Doe also. I'm gonna hit check names, and it should add Jane Doe also. So this should be 2 users added. Now I'm gonna hit OK, and there's John Doe and Jane Doe. So notice how that's all pretty written. Anyway, that's fine. This is just what you do, so get used to if you have to do it this way. I guess I also will note we're using the GUI here. If you were actually in an administrative environment, you would use the command prompt, but this is, I don't know, you all are students, you're trying to learn how to do this, and the GUI, I think, really emphasizes what's going on. So I have a group name CIS. Now I have 2 members. I'm going to hit create. Now, this is the same way as if I wanted to create multiple groups. I don't. I just wanted this one, which is CIS. I'll just close that out. We double click CIS, we got members, Jane Doe, John Doe, and I hit OK. All right, so that's exciting. Now, next up, we need a shared folder. We're gonna go into shared folders. This is actually pretty normal. I'm gonna open this. Let me zoom this down because I don't need that zoomed up. I'm gonna click on shares. There are some default shares already created. And one of the interesting things here is where it has the C here and a $sign. This means it's a hidden share. This admin with the $sign is also a hidden share. If you're an administrator, there might be times when I'm doing a later one of these walkthroughs and you'll see me actually use the C $sign share because I might have forgotten the name of the share I wanted to connect to. But this is fine here. All right, this is the best place to set up a share. I'm gonna zoom this down and I'm gonna open up File Explorer. In File Explorer, I can also create a share. I need to, though, set up a new folder, and I'm gonna create a folder just for this share. So I'm clicking on C drive. I'm gonna create in here, let's just create our new folder, okay? For lack of any other reason, I'm just gonna create the CIS folder in here, okay? So this is gonna be the CIS shared folder that we're gonna access remotely. Now here, the reason I sort of started this, I can actually right click here and there's an option that says share with. Don't do this option, okay? This is what, I don't know, it's built for like regular user windows, like if you're at your house, and notice here the names of the users are right here, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna click here. It's a much more like professional version over here. If I do right click, so again, I've expanded my computer management. I'm in the shares. Now I'm gonna right click and hit new share. And this is a shared folder wizard, and it's funny thing is it doesn't need to be a wizard because hopefully it should be obvious. but I'm going to hit next. I need to find the path to the folder, and if I was going to type it in, I would, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to find it on C drive. I've just expanded C drive, and I want to use that CIS folder, and I hit OK. Notice here it has the make new folder option. So if I had been doing this, like, I don't know, if I hadn't shown you I would create a folder and what the share was, I could have just made the new folder here. But anyway, it's there. It's that CIS folder, and I'm ready to share it. I will note right now, it's possible to make multiple shares to a folder. That's fine. We're not going to do that right now. My share name here is going to be CIS. If I was creating a new, another share for it, I would name it something else. So this is going to be the shared, and I'll just call it shared drive for, CIS department. All right, so that's the description here. This will help me keep track of it. It's up here where it says description. It'll come up over there. Not a lot of extra there. I will want to put here, I actually want all of the CIS users to have full permissions, okay? So this is not actually a good idea. I'll use it well for a shared folder like this. This is a shared folder that they're going to use. I need them to be able to create and customize stuff. Now, just a small comment here about a share permission and a file permission. They're two different things. Share permissions are like the permissions on the share itself. So if I gave read-only access, when I went into the file permissions, if I gave people full control, they only have read-only access because the share restricts what they can do. So basically here, you get the least permissions of your share or your folder. And so we have to, for now, I'm going to make the shared folder high permissions, okay? I don't want everyone on here. Everyone just means anyone who's logged in. I do still want to have the administrator on here. I'm going to, well, we'll just leave everyone read. I hate messing with the everyone. We do want the administrators to have permission here. So I'm going to give administrators, and I'm going to give the CIS department full control over it. So I click CIS, I hit full control, and I click administrators and I hit full control, right? So just to note here, everyone, I'm not messing with this permission really. Everyone is someone who's logged in. It's really, yeah, I probably should remove, let me just remove it then. We'll remove everyone. We'll just leave CIS and administrators on here and hit OK. All right. Of course, this might come back and bite me because I'm, in my mind, I think I shouldn't have done that. All right, now we're going to hit finish. I click finish, run the wizard again. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to hit finish. Now, let me switch back. There's my CIS folder. I don't know why I bumped back to there, but there's my CIS folder share. It's for C:(CIS. It's a Windows share. And this will tell us if it's, yeah, shared file for the CIS department. All right, so that's very exciting. Now, what does it mean? Well, what it means is I'm done here with the share, hopefully. I'm going to close it out. If I need to use it again, I can get into it. I'm going to open this CIS folder. So this folder is on this server's disk, okay? There's this CIS folder. I'm going to scoochie this out of the way up into the corner. Everything should be working fine. I'm going to go into the file manager on the Azure machine. It's the Azure machine. Sometimes these windows don't look great, do they? Over right to other stuff. All right, so this is the Azure machine. I'm going to be connecting from the Azure machine to the Windows server. Okay. Now, to do that, here's kind of the, I don't know what you call it. This is the GUI way to do it. I right-click on network. By the way, you'll see map network drive right there. If I right-click on this PC, there is also map network drive. So it doesn't really matter. I usually right-click on network though. When I'm going to map a network drive, I want to map one. Okay, there's a way to connect just separately, but you want to map it because if I map it, I can disconnect from it. Okay, so typically you want to map. All right, we're going to connect. The drive letter is going to be D:. And then notice here where it says example //server/share. I need to put 2 backslashes, and then if I'm on the same network and my network is set up to do Windows correctly, I actually would have, my server would have a name. I would type the //, put the name of the server. But since mine doesn't, I'm going to use the IP address, 168.1.2, okay? I've already set this as a fixed IP address. If you were looking in a previous exercise, this is when we set up the whole thing to begin with. I gave it a fixed IP address, so that's the server name, basically. And then the share name is CIS. It's also important here that I check this box for connect using different credentials. What's going to happen is actually, and I hate to just note, this is a huge security problem, but my credentials are the same all over the place. If I didn't check this box, it would connect as the administrator, and the administrator is given full control. And anyway, we need to check this box. Okay, so now I'm going to hit finish. When I connect, I can click John Doe, and I type in John Doe's password. If I hit OK, now I'm connected. Notice we've gotten a new File Explorer window, except that's over there. I'm just going to close this other one. I've got a new File Explorer window. This says drive Z. That's where the Z colon is right there. I'm going to zoom this over a little bit so we can see it. And there it is. It's in my list now. So we've got a list of stuff I can access, and there is drive Z. All right, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a file. So if I right click here and I just hit new, and I'm going to do a new text document. And for grins, we're just going to call it John created this. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to actually open this because it's a notepad document anyway. And I'm going to say John added this information to the file. Okay, let's put period. We're going to save that. So we're going to hit file save. We're going to quit. It doesn't really matter. All right, so there it is. John created this .txt, and we're very excited. And notice it's over here. All right, but we're going to pretend that since we're John, we can't really see the server. I mean, this is what we see. All right, so there's John. Now I'm going to right click here, and I'm actually just going to disconnect it. That's what this button is. Right click, disconnect. Currently have 2 files. I actually don't have files. You have to be careful about this, but it's going to be okay right now. I seem to have not really saved it, but I did save it. By the way, if I come over here now, I'm on this server. And there is John added this information to the file, and John created this. Okay. Now, let's map again. This time we're going to pretend. I'm going to right click on network still because I just like to. This time we're going to be Jane 192.168.1.2 /CIS. So it's the same share. I actually don't need to connect that in. Connect using different credentials. I hit finish here. And now I'm going to be Jane Doe. And there's Jane's password that I created earlier. Happens to be the same, but there's Jane. Now I'm Jane. So just for kicks, we'll just put in here a new text document, and we'll call this one Jane. We're not doing this for kicks. We're doing this to show something. Jane created this. And then we're going to put Jane added stuff. Okay, so Jane added some stuff. We're going to close that. I'm going to save it. We're going to go into the John file. If I double click this, I can put here, look at this. Jane added this to the file. Oops. And then Jane, we're just going to put here Jane, and I don't know what I want to put. I'm just going to delete the A because we're just going to make here. Jane added this to the file, and then we're going to put in parentheses. Jane fixed John's typo. Okay, so there we go there. Because I'm Jane. Don't forget I'm Jane right now. If I hit close now, I'm going to save it. And now, where did I end up here? Oh, save as John created this. Oh, I do want to save it as John created this. This file already exists. Do you want to replace it? Oh, let's replace it. Funny, I thought I could do this. Oh, I don't have permission to open this file. Well, that's interesting. So apparently I don't have permission as Jane to modify John's file. So I'm going to hit don't save here, but I do see where I created some stuff. Now, let's have a look at the permissions because this is what we actually need to look at. Let's go into the C colon. We're in C colon CIS. Let me just put it in here. There's CIS. I'm going to right click here, and now I'm on the folder permissions. I'm going to do the folder permissions. So I'm right clicking on CIS and I'm hitting properties. Now, if I look at security here, this is all the permissions on the file. Right here, I'm going to hit edit immediately because you can't really see what's going on here. But it's typical. There's a group that's called the creator owner that, for example, John created the file and John can modify it. Let me just note here, I'm still logged in as Jane. Jane added stuff, and then we'll say here, Jane added more stuff. So Jane can just save it. If I close this and say save, it just does it. Jane created this. And then we'll say Jane, we'll put Jane added stuff. We can put here Jane modified this. As the creator owner, Jane can modify this file. So I'm going to save it. And now, Jane, it stays, like all the additions got changed. But we saw where Jane couldn't change John's file. But we want to make it so, in this case, that these users can do it. And some of the defaults are what's going on. Creator owner is normal. When you create it, you just basically have full access. We're going to mess with this users one. So I'm going to hit edit right now. Everyone is a member of users. And you can see users has read and execute, list folder contents, all that stuff. Just for kicks, I'm going to leave well, not just for kicks. I'm going to leave the users as being able to read each other's files. So everyone in the whole business could read the files. If I didn't want every user to do it, I could just hit remove here, and then a typical user wouldn't be able to read. But I'm going to leave it because I feel like I want them to read anyway. I'm going to add. So I just clicked add. Let me just note again where we are. I'm closing this out. I right-clicked on the folder. I hit properties, I clicked on the security tab, and I hit edit. Now we're going to add the CIS. So I type CIS, hit check names. I added the CIS group and I hit OK. Now the CIS group, I'm going to give them full control. Okay. You are going to decide for yourselves. If I hit apply, I sometimes hit apply and OK, but once you hit OK and OK, now it's applied. Now I am Jane again. Remember before I couldn't fix stuff. So I'm going to put in parentheses, Jane fixed this. Fix this line. Okay. Now if I close it and hit save, it works just fine. Okay, John and Jane have equal access to this file. So if I hit save, it saves it, we're good. Okay, so I can go back, let me just flip over here. It's in here, and there's John created this, and we had Jane adding stuff. So if you're my student, you need to be able to tell everything here. Oops, when you hit edit. You need to tell everything here what all this stuff means. All right, I want you to do this. Okay, you might decide I want to just delete the users, and I'm going to check and uncheck things. Some of this stuff is really obvious. List folder contents, read, and then read next. Those are pretty obvious, and you can look around online. Don't deal with special permissions, okay? If you're one of my students, you just need to know full control, modify, read and execute, list folder contents, read and write. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to hit cancel here. Actually, we'll just hit okay, it doesn't matter because we didn't do anything. What I'm going to do now is, I was just Jane, and remember Jane got to fix some stuff. Jane did some stuff here. If I want to, just for kicks, I'm going to go over here as the administrator, and I'm just going to hit a new file here. I'm going to do a new text document. This is like the administrator created here. So we'll put admin created this. Okay, so let's just say here's another person, right? All right, so now we have an admin, and I'll put this is the special, we'll just call it a special admin file. All right, we're going to save that because I'm an admin over here, and I created a file over here. Now, here's what we're going to do. We are going to hack this computer. So I'm Jane. Remember, I'm Jane here. John, Jane. Jane can do stuff. And we can already tell, by the way, I can go in here, and we'll put here Jane can add stuff. Okay, hit file, save. And Jane, sure enough, this is the special admin file. Jane can add stuff. Now, again, if you're one of my students, you're going to be finding out what each of those permissions mean, because what I want to do is do something naughty. Now we're going to look for a program. This one is, if you're in my class, is located on there's a link to it. Ransom is what I'm looking for. Let's find ransom. Ransom, is it this one? I think I want this one, this ransom. Okay, on GitHub. Let me just double check what I'm doing. Ransom is the one I want on GitHub by Londoc. Yes. All right, this is the one you want, or the one we're going to use. And here's ransom. And what I need to do is download over here the initial release. So we're going to download the initial release here. I need to right-click this, and I need to say Save Link As. You might remember a while back we created a quarantine folder. If you don't know how to create a quarantine folder, I think we created this when we did the network traffic analysis exercise, but we need to put this in the quarantine folder. So I'm going to save it to the quarantine folder. And let me just show you, if I download this, I'm going to save link as. If I download it to a more normal place, like I created in the documents file, and I hit save, what will happen is this should be detected as a virus. Let me find it. I'm in the documents folder. It should be detected. Oh, you know what I did wrong? This is not the ransom file. That's dumb. Oh, I hate how complicated computers are. We're deleting that. Let me go back into my downloads quarantine, because that is not the right file. Oh, GitHub. I need to go to releases, and I need to click on initial release, and here is where I need to download it. We need the zip file, so I'm going to right click here, save link as, because this is going in downloads, quarantine. I'm going to save that in there. I'm also going to, just to show you, well, it better be malware. This is definitely malware. I'm going to save it in the documents folder, and then see how it says couldn't download virus detected. It has to be in a quarantine folder. Now it's funny, right? It's ransom. Oh, these folks. This ransom, you would call it a ransomware simulation text. You can use it to test your defenses and backups against real ransomware-like activities. Let me just note here why it's not, why they're not cool. The thing that's not cool about this is I can actually create a key right here. And this means if I'm actually wanting to ransomware attack somebody, this is where I set the key. So again, this is why it is ransomware, and like fully ransomware and detected as a virus. And that's with good reason that, it's on your computer, it's going to be a virus. So, all right, we're just going to set it up now though. I'm going into quarantine, double click quarantine. I do need to unzip this. So I'm going to go 7-zip and just hit extract here. I don't want it nested too far in here. So let's just make sure everything is in here. The only thing we want is this ransom PS1. Okay, this is the actual, I don't know what you call it. This is the PowerShell file that does the execution. This is super common, and I seriously bet like tons of ransomware software uses this package. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. All I'm doing is getting this stuff out of the way. I'm done looking at that too. I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to close this one for now. I think that's good. And now I need a PowerShell command. So I'm going to go into a PowerShell command, and we're going to do a PowerShell. PowerShell. I want the PowerShell desktop app. I don't need the development environment because I'm just going to use that ransom file. Now, if you recall what we just did, this was in the downloads file, so I cd downloads. Okay, I'm gonna go. It's in the quarantine too. QARA. Oops, that is the wrong. Is that in the right place? It drives me crazy. Sometimes stuff is case sensitive. This time it is not. I'm gonna go to quarantine. CD quarantine. Oops, and I gotta spell it right. The up arrow thing works just fine. I'm arrowing over because I spelled it wrong. Quarantine. Look in here. There's that ransim. I'm going to cd to ransim -1.0, and in here is where my command is. Okay, and it's that ransim one is the one I'm going to use. Okay, I'm pretty sure you have to have that file cryptography thing, which is fine. All right, here's how it goes. If I just type ransim, I'm pretty sure it won't work, but I'm still going to do it just so you can see what happens when you do it wrong. Ransom.ps1, that's just the name of the file. I need to do a dash mode. So mode is what you want to do. This time we're going to encrypt. In a mode encrypt, and then I need to put a target path. And the target path here is z:. Okay? Because this is where I was connected. Let me just slip back in here. Remember, I'm on z:, and I'm going to do a ransomware attack. And that's what somebody would do if they were going to hack you. Basically, they're going to take over someone's computer. So in this case, if I was an attacker and I've taken over Jane's computer, I can now run a ransomware attack. So I'm going to hit enter. This didn't work, okay? This is why I told you first it does exist, and then notice here it says if you trust this command, instead type /. Okay, so I'm gonna up arrow. Notice it just has that /, and if I put in a dot and a /, then it should run okay. I'll hit enter, and hey, there you go. Notice here it says right, encrypted 3 files, and now they're encrypted. This admin file, can't open this file. If I want to look in Notepad, it is just going to be encrypted stuff. Okay, that's not good, is it? What are we going to do? Now, if we were in a normal organization, you're going to have to go to your backups. Hopefully you got them. For us, luckily, we are the attacker, so I can just up arrow here and I can say mode is decrypt, and then that unencrypts them. So now the admin file is all unencrypted. Right, so let me just show you really quickly. If I go over here, I'm going to go back to this CIS folder, so where we were. Oops, I might as well just go up a level. So now I'm at CIS. I'm going to right click here and hit properties and hit security, and I'm going to edit, and instead of giving CIS the full control, I'm going to uncheck basically and just only have them have read access. Okay. So by the way, this would mean that Jane can't modify files. If you're one of my students, I need you to be fine enough at this that when Jane is logged in, Jane can still modify files, but Jane can't, let me go up arrow twice, Jane can't encrypt anything. So now I'm going to hit enter. And now, this is kind of interesting. See how it says admin created this .txt.encrypted. Let's see what we ended up with here. if I open this up in Notepad, what am I doing here? It's probably opening everything. There it is. It's still encrypted. Well, that's no good. But there's a way that we can, did we ever unencrypt this? There's a way that we can structure the encryption or the permissions such that when Jane does an attack, that Jane would not actually encrypt any files. Let me do a new file over here really quickly, and we're just about done with this video. So I'm going to call this admin's new file. Admin new file. Oops, file. Doesn't matter. I'll just call this a new file. I just want to make sure. I thought we would not be able to. I think since Jane's already been messing with stuff, that she can still encrypt stuff. Let me go back to mode encrypt. I'm going to hit enter. And in this case, notice here, we didn't have access to the new file. So there's no access at all there. What I want you to do again, if you're one of my students, I want you to be able to figure out a way that Jane can still modify files, but that when Jane runs the encryption, that the files are still there, that we don't have to go to the backup. So this is what I want you to do. The other thing my users or my students need to do is just make some changes to permissions and just make sure like people can do various things to get their work done. So I think that was a pretty good little exercise. I'm just really quickly going to disconnect my stuff here. Oops, I probably ought to unencrypt everything. Let's not decrypt it. I'm going to close out of this one. I think we're good here. That looks good. I'm going to right click here and disconnect because I want you to do that before you shut down. I can close this out, and then basically this would be, we're back at a starting point ready to do the next exercise. So I hope that was really exciting, and I hope you're enjoying my videos. Bye-bye.